Hey, brothers and sisters, Doc Knott here. Just wanted to make another video. Thought I'd just make something, tell you guys a story. Some crazy things have happened in my life. I've seen a lot of them, and I usually like to tell stories when I'm hanging out with my buddies, having drinks, whatever. And this is one of the favorites. Most people love this one. That's one of my favorites to tell. So it's called Breathe. So back then, I used to live in Ocean Beach. This is early '90s, maybe as late as '94. I'm not sure. Actually, I think this pier here is the OB pier. Um, let me show you screen share with you. This is the Google Docs of Ocean Beach. Ocean Beach is like just south of Mission Beach in San Diego. I think this is the pier right here that's in my background. But anyway, I lived over here by this 7-Eleven, and I used to come here to the dog beach and take my dog for, let her play out in the ocean, throw the ball out here, and sometimes this thing would be moving pretty quickly, pulling the water back that way, and she'd have to swim after the ball. It was a lot of fun. This little jetty's a good time. Anyway, yeah, I used to let's see, I worked at Hartson at the time as an ambulance driver. I was an EMT, a BLS EMT, basic life support emergency medical technician. And I used to have a mohawk about, so tall I couldn't touch the top of it with my hands, but I'd have it back in a ponytail, most of the time slicked back and a little curl in the back, and I had a small goatee. It was nothing like this, but they used to call me Satan. It was a good times. But anyway, yeah, so I lived here in OB. In fact, I lived pretty close to this 7-Eleven. Let's see, oh yeah, so here it is. I guess it's called Northside Tavern. That was the Dream Street back then. Saw a lot of good shows there. I saw Agent Orange, like, I don't know, 3 times or something. So I lived in this little duplex here off this alleyway, and I'd just walk up here to 7-Eleven, get my coffee. This particular morning, um I'm in this back, well, I don't know if you call it back or front, whatever. I was in this part of the duplex. There's another guy back here. His name was John. But I lived here. My wife was sleeping. It was like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, something like that. I had already had one coffee. I was working on my second quadruple espresso with coffee, and smoking some weed. So I was on my way, man. I was having a good time that morning. And this is our little parking lot. We had a Jeep that was parked here. But anyway, I'm sitting inside this house, and I hear this guy screaming, "Breathe, breathe!" And I'm like, "What is going on?" Right? So freaks me out. My skin starts crawling. So I come out and I come into this little parking lot here. I don't want to, I'm kind of worried. This area was, by the locals, is called the war zone. All right. It's called the war zone, at least back then, because of the people that lived there. Generally, the two main groups that lived there were skinheads and hippies, right? And so anyway, it's kind of crazy stuff that happened all the time, and I didn't want to be part of it, but I hear this guy yelling "breathe" at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I want to know what's going on. So I come out here into this little parking lot, and I'm looking down the alley, and here's this guy on the roof over here, and he's standing on top of the roof yelling "breathe, breathe." I'm like, what the fuck is going on, you know? But he's by himself, so I don't know, and he jumps across over to this house, right? From rooftop to rooftop. I'm like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? Um, and then he jumps across to this one. Okay. And then he jumps across to this one. So he's right across from me. I see him. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm kind of freaked out. Maybe he has a gun, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I'm just kind of watching him, wondering what's happening. And then he jumps to this house here. Well, right in the middle of this house has a an angled roof, and it's really steep, and he climbs up to the top of the angle, right? And he stands on the top of that A frame, right across the alley from my house. I don't know, but it seemed like this guy thinks he's going to jump from this rooftop over to here, right? It's what it looked like he was trying to do. And he's standing there. Well, there's a telephone wire that goes right in front of the house. Okay. And where he's standing, it's a little bit below his waist level, but it's about 2 feet out into the street. And he stands there and he puts his hands behind his back, tilts his head back, closes his eyes, and I immediately back up. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to watch this, right? So I back up into the through the gate and close the gate. I don't want to watch what's about to happen. And all of a sudden I hear a watermelon hit the ground. Thunk, just like a watermelon. Oh, awful sound, just awful. So I open the gate, I go back out there, and keep in mind, I am an EMT, right? I'm off duty, but I'm an EMT. So I go out there and I'm high. By the way, I have a pot plant growing in my yard that's big enough that it's actually coming up over the fence a little bit. Okay. Which is a little scary for me. But anyway, I go out there into the alley, and I see this guy in the alley, and the pool of blood around his head is growing larger and larger by the second. I'm like, okay. So 911, call for an ambulance. And I'm watching him, but he's breathing, but it's called agonal breathing. He goes, like that, right? So I call him and they say, yeah, don't touch him as long as he's breathing, don't touch him, leave him alone. We will be there as soon as possible. Well, the fire department's not that far away, and they showed up in just a few minutes because they're excellent. They are the most amazing men and women on the planet. Okay, firemen, salute to you. You guys are badass. Love you. Anyway, they show up, they strap him to the board, get him all hooked up, and take off to the hospital with him. I don't know for sure what happened to him, but I did talk to somebody who saw him when he went to the hospital before he actually passed. I think he actually passed a day or so after this, but they said that they did a drug test on him, and he was basically a pharmaceutical. Like he had every drug that they could think of in him. He probably been up for the last 6 or 7 days. And hadn't slept. But anyway, so that's my story. It's about a guy who yells breathe and ends up jumping from a roof, and I get to see a pool of blood spreading around my alleyway. Crazy. Anyway, hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the story. Leave me any kind of comments you have in the comments down below. Subscribe. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.